Let's take a sec to think back, think back.
I got into hip hop in the early 80s. My uncle had a lot of like 45s, and one 45 that he had was Shaka Khan and Melly Mel, I Feel For You. And the beginning of that, Melly Mel starts off rapping, and he's like, Shaka Khan, let me rock it, Shaka Khan. So as a little kid, I would run around the house singing that and rapping that. And after a while, I got so bored with the words that I changed the words. I would flip up the words and make up my own words. So essentially, it was like freestyling. And after that, I mean, I would sit up late nights with my father. My father would help me tape old hip-hop shows, and we would sit there and listen to, like, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick do the show. You know, and back then I was so young, I had no concept that it was rappers. It was a pre-recorded thing. So I was under the impression that it was, like, people at the local high school down the street, you know, doing this live, because I didn't know any better. I was a little kid, so I was obsessed from that point on. And then I started doing tracks around like 93, met up with what the first demigods were. Started doing that, started recording tracks, really getting involved more. And then around like 99 or so, 2000, we started putting out records. We did it with like Bronx Science. Bronx Science was putting out a lot of my first singles. So honestly, I don't give a fuck, to be honest, like to be dead honest with you, because this is the thing. I don't think a hip-hop knowledge should be a required thing if you listen to the music. It should be something that you love, and if you're going to live the culture, you should seek it out. That's like people like forcing religion on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people like who go to school, who go to church, pardon me, and they sit there and they try to force believing in religion. You know what I'm saying? It's something more obligatory than something they seek out. Being in the hip-hop culture and having knowledge of that should be something you thirst for, something you should die to go know, die to go see the places, die to see the events, to see what really happened, to understand what really happened. Man, we grew up in a lot better, like dudes my age and older grew up in a lot better of a time frame, because hip-hop was something you had to go out and find. It wasn't easy. Most record stores and stuff like that didn't even really have a hip-hop section. You know, most places didn't carry hip-hop CDs, hip-hop tapes back then. You know, hip-hop records. Radio stations back in the day used to say more of your favorite hits without the rap crap. You know what I mean? Like, hip-hop was not something that was readily accessible. So you had to really go hunt for that. So for the fact that, you know, these kids don't have knowledge of it, oh well. I mean, if it's meant to be, they're going to go find it. They're going to go discover it, and they're going to live it, and they're going to breathe it and not stop thinking about it, and it's going to be a real thing with them. It's either coursing through your veins or it's not. I definitely started to understand more the molecular structure of the industry and what it is, and there's a lot of misconceptions and fallacies and myths. Some people think things are worse than they are. Some people think things are better than they are. They think that when you get signed, you get whisked off and you got this huge budget to record and do stuff. It's not like that at all, man. You're pretty much, when you get signed to a major label nowadays, if you don't have a humongous, enormous street buzz and demand for you already, you're still in demo mode. There's dudes like myself, Lupe Fiasco, Saigon, who are still recording to death trying to blow up this stuff. Saigon and Lupe are at a level way above me. You know, Lupe was on the Kanye West song. Saigon was on the Entourage show. He had a huge mixtapes out. He had a huge buzz, and their albums still on out. So it's like the point of that is that those are the dopest new artists right there. Those cats. And they still got to grind. So it's not like what everybody thinks, where you get signed and all of a sudden, poof, boom, you blow up. And then another thing, too, is that they think major labels try to, like, get you to do, like, wild, corny stuff, like rock clown suits and all that. It's not like that either, man. The biggest thing I could say about here's my complete perception of record label people. They're very impassive, and no pun intended, but they're very apathetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, either you do the work and you're blowing up and you're relevant to them, or you're not. And it's nothing personal. It's no big deal. It's like either you're there and you're popping or you're not. You either are on or you're off. There's no in between. They're not messing with you. They're not fucking with your mind. They're not doing crazy up and down things. It's either you're relevant or you're irrelevant. Fans in Europe, I mean, I don't know if people are just generally more jolly over there and happy, but it's a little more of a positive. I mean, you know, I've been all over the world and I've been to gorgeous, amazing places, but I always say there's no place I'd rather live than the U.S. You know, I love visiting overseas and I think it's amazing, but there's nowhere else I'd rather be than home, just because I grew up here and I'm acclimated to this lifestyle. But over there, they seem to be a lot more appreciative. You know, they're more souped. It's like a bigger deal to them, because you got to think, over here we grew up with this. Hip-hop was created here. Hip-hop was born here. You know what I'm saying? So it takes more to impress us. We've seen billions and billions of MCs come and go. We've seen the greatest of the great in our faces around our areas where we are. You know, over there, it's like a mythical thing to them. You know, it's like a whole different thing. So when you come over there, they're way more appreciative, and they love what American hip-hop sounds like. They love what hip-hop from the States sounds like. So they're a lot more appreciative. They're a lot more amped. It's a cool vibe.